Hey friends, Dr. Mark here, and I'm coming to you from Premium Production Studio in our podcast as we discuss the state of chiropractic in 2026. A lot's going on. I've had the wonderful opportunity to travel this year so far. It's just toward the end of June, and I've been to New Jersey for the Garden State Convention. Amazing, wonderful speakers, and a lot of great topics in regards to non-therapeutic chiropractic. Also, recently at the end of May, got back from Mexico City. Amazing. Mexico has so many wonderful things going on in chiropractic and so much potential to be one of the flagships for the whole world in the success of chiropractic in the NTC, the non-therapeutic model, reaching the world. Always exciting. And as many of you know, one of my areas of expertise within chiropractic is teaching communication skills congruent with the 33 principles and philosophy of chiropractic, creating massive value. So you have a practice you never need a vacation from. You enjoy serving because they enjoy having their spines checked weekly for vertebral subluxations. Where are we in chiropractic? Chiropractic is so fascinating. As you know, if you watch my YouTube videos, I interview chiropractors from around the world. And one of the questions that I will ask every chiropractor I interview is, how do you define chiropractic? I used to say, how do you define chiropractic in your office? But what I've come to discover is that many chiropractors try to give an orientation or say, I use this or that. What I'm looking for is a succinct definition of chiropractic that could be written down on a piece of paper for state law, for a universal law, so people within the profession can understand what chiropractic is. Now, most chiropractors do not have a working definition, and that needs to change. And I want to help create the awareness so that can change. So chiropractors can have a definition, and I do see conversations that are being stimulated by my posts on social media that, and I will say, and I know I get rather bold with some of my posts on social media. It's because, folks, I'm running out of time. I'm doing the best I can to help this profession reach the world. And one of the conversations that was stimulated was, that I saw a post, I'm talking third party, that stated, in order for chiropractic to reach the world, we must have a clear definition of what chiropractic is. And the conversation was, who is going to determine what that definition is? What person has the authority to do so? Of course, I am paraphrasing. In the reality, chiropractic, the days of authority are over. They are done. We do have leaders in chiropractic, of course. Chiropractic is determined by logic. Chiropractic is determined by the basic science of the 33 principles. And if it's not congruent with the 33 principles, it is no longer chiropractic. So chiropractic has a philosophy that we're constantly asking why. And we ask why within the scope of practices, which is what we're talking about here, within the scope of practice of the 33 principles. We have a definition of chiropractic, which comes from the philosophy and the 33 principles. Remember, the philosophy of chiropractic is consistently asking why and looking for answers within the basic science of chiropractic, which is the 33 principles. And when we look at the history of chiropractic, chiropractic started, it was a discovery by D.D. and B.J. Palmer. And they began to work within this discovery the best that they could. What they did not have was working principles that did not come. I'm sure they were discussed and talked about, but they were not clear and written until Stevenson's in 1927 in volume 14 of the Green Book's chiropractic textbook. Even that book is not complete. It is not complete because we know more now, but it sets a framework for us in chiropractic to constantly develop. It sets it sets a basic science that the 33 principles are not a philosophical concept. Thank you, Claude Dessard, for that. They are a basic science concept. And having a definition now puts chiropractic in an absolute position, which a lot of people are very hesitant to do. That this is our scope of practice, this is exactly how we can serve the world, this is exactly how we can reach the world, and chiropractic is nothing else. So you ask, well, Mark, what is the definition that you use in your office, ultimately setting your scope of practice? And that would be a great question. That chiropractic is the analysis and the facilitation of the adjustment of vertebral subluxations because they, in and of themselves, are detrimental to the expression of innate law of living things. Chiropractic is all education toward this objective, and chiropractic is nothing else. And that sets our scope of practice. Is this definition going to be there forever? Probably not. It will evolve, not because chiropractic principles change, not because universal principles change, not because principles of living matter changes, but because our understanding of these principles change. Remember, principles are truths that make up universal laws. And I find this fascinating because chiropractic is the only profession talking about these things, and sadly most of the profession doesn't want to talk about these things. Most of the profession wants to throw these things out the window. And if you notice within chiropractic, we're having more and more integration of not just physical therapy, not just nutrition, we also have functional medicine coming in, and we also have prescription drugs in certain states like New Mexico, and we have injections like dry needling, but it's no longer dry because they are putting whatever types of medicinal solutions on the needles in states like Florida. And this is what's happening. Chiropractic is slowly being integrated to the medical world, being practiced as physical medicine. And the only thing that needs to be sacrificed is the chiropractic identity. Throw away the 33 principles. Throw away chiropractic philosophy. And like Reggie Goat said, chiropractic does not have a philosophy. Chiropractic is a philosophy. And what we have the luxury of now is we have 33 principles that we can constantly check ourselves and to see if we are congruent with these principles. If we are no longer congruent with these principles, we are no longer in the realm of chiropractic. And when we look at the state of chiropractic today, we have three basic models of chiropractic. There are three categories of chiropractic currently. So we can see within the schools, within the chiropractic colleges, you have a large movement of institutions that are dropping the word chiropractic from their name. So you have Northwestern Health Sciences and National Health Sciences, Los Angeles Health Sciences. And I was just informed that Northwestern is incorporating a program to include nurse anesthetists into their curriculum, which is fine because their focus is no longer chiropractic. So what we have is a model or within chiropractic for some reason that doesn't want to be in chiropractic. It wants to be an integrated medical service, which is fine. So it's slowly integrating itself in that direction. Now, it's obvious the schools that are going to go into that particular direction are going to be schools that have been that way all along, whether it's National or Los Angeles or Western States or Northwestern, and that's fine. So they're no longer interested in being in the chiropractic model. And then we have the traditional straight schools, which is going to be very interesting to see where they go. Those traditional straight schools are going to be schools like Cleveland College, like Parker College, Texas College. I'm not sure where they stand, but at best they're a traditional college. Even Palmer and Life are traditional colleges, and I see more medical components coming into the Palmer curriculum more and more, because Palmer is my alma mater. I graduated from Palmer College in Davenport in 1993. And it will be interesting to see how far Palmer and Life go down that road. That model completely wants to be removed from chiropractic, and that's the divide that's happening. B.J. Palmer has a green book, The Great Divide. Now, and we must remember that chiropractic in its conception needed an authority. It needed a central figure. and those figures were provided by D.D. Palmer and then B.J. Palmer, and then ultimately that relationship split, D.D. going out west and B.J. staying at Palmer, and Palmer being the fountainhead that every chiropractic school in the world came from Palmer College in some way. And BJ lost his authority because he was so committed to improving and constantly changing. And when he lost his authority, you can argue when that happened. That, in 1910, x-rays were introduced into chiropractic. And BJ was very adamant that if you're not taking x-rays, you're not practicing what was called back then straight chiropractic, because you had mixer chiropractors who took chiropractic and would mix other things into it. Now keep in mind, we're still in the model, in both of these models of chiropractic, getting sick people well, whether you choose to do that exclusively through the adjustment of vertebral subluxations or you wanted to incorporate other means as well. So in 1923, B.J. Palmer with Darcy Evans incorporate the neurocalometer, that they have an instrument now. Later on, that became the neurocalograph, where it became that it would have pattern analysis. It began to have the ability to take those heat changes in the spine, the difference right to left, and plot them on a piece of paper. And that's when pattern analysis was born. And that again split the profession. BJ split the profession in the final instance in 1930 in his beginning concepts that led to volume 18 that was published in 1935, where BJ said chiropractic, it must be upper cervical, and if you go below C2 you are no longer practicing chiropractic. BJ himself violated that later years in Our Masterpiece, where he did say that you may need to go below C2 for osseous obtrusions that could require a corrective thrust. It's not a vertebral subluxation and it's not an adjustment. Well, BJ, if that's the case, you're advocating mixing. So that's where the argument that BJ went back to faux spine. BJ had an argument that they were doing faux spine neurocalograph readings, saying that, if the pattern didn't clear out, you may need to go below C2. At any rate, it was probably about 1935 when BJ not only was advocating for the upper cervical technique, he was also advocating that every chiropractor had to have a neurocalograph that you could purchase from Palmer School of Chiropractic. Now, it was a lease deal, to my understanding, so you would lease it for $3,500 and then pay $5 a month or $5 a year. It was one or the other for it to be maintenanced. And there was a chiropractor in Mississippi whose dad actually had one of these, which is pretty amazing. And man, I don't know what happened to it, because I would love to get a look at it. It's just, I love chiropractic history. And to gauge how much $3,500 was in the 1935, 1940 era, the average house at that time was $5,000. So this is where people kind of got, had enough of BJ, and BJ lost his authority after that. But he was always looked at by the majority of the profession as the leader of chiropractic. At the end of BJ's authority was really the end of authority, the authority era in chiropractic, because shortly after that, there were 3 students that graduated in one of the last classes that BJ was around, because during BJ's last 10 years, between 1951 and 61, of course, the research clinic closed down in 51, and BJ died in 61. In the last 10 years, BJ Palmer spent a lot of time in Sarasota, Florida. And one of BJ's last classes, and it may have been like 1953, may have been a little bit later, he had Joe Felicia, Sid Williams, and Reggie Gold. Now Sid Williams stuck a lot with BJ's theosophy, never leaving getting sick people well, and Reggie Gold revolutionized the philosophy. Now, Reggie did have the 33 principles that he was studying from. In fact, Reggie's thesis was the triune of life, principle number 4, and probably some of Reggie's best work. I truly believe that it has aged much better than Reggie's third paradigm, because it's much clearer. and truly ahead of his time. So where Reggie came from is where we have evolved to today. That chiropractic, that everybody lives better when vertebral subluxations are adjusted. A fuller expression of the innate law of living things that enables the coordination of function, which is principle 31, if I'm not mistaken, the coordination of function to be closer to its full potential. And this revolutionized chiropractic through Reggie's brilliance in taking chiropractic to be much more logical. Because not everybody gets well when they see a chiropractor, and not everybody who is well stays well, because there's more than one thing that can go wrong with the human body, and there's more than one habit that the body needs. I think Sid Williams did some amazing things. There is no question about it. He built the largest school in chiropractic. He certainly was a man who had that dynamic essential where people would pay money just to be in your company, and Sid, his voice could reach the world. The message needed to be improved. I was listening to Sid Williams today where he was talking about 95% of human ailment can be resolved between the articulations of the condyles, atlas, and axis. And as a chiropractor, I professionally think that's absolutely ridiculous. Then it's still the practice of medicine. That what we can say with absolute certainty is everybody lives better when vertebral subluxations are adjusted. And if it cured 95% of all ailments, that means everybody who's seeing a chiropractor today should never have any ailments, should live forever, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But what does make sense is that every human being has vertebral subluxations. It is a limitation of matter, no different than plaque building up on your teeth. The difference is this, that vertebral subluxations interfere with the expression of this innate law of living things within the whole body, profoundly affecting the coordination of function within the whole body. And this person living with vertebral subluxations pays the price that they will never live to their full potential, and that should be unacceptable. Today, I posted another polarizing message on social media that chiropractic does not need validation. And the word validation can have so many different meanings, and I do understand that. What I simply mean, chiropractic is not something that needs to be validated to the public. Chiropractic is something that needs to be explained to the public. It is the chiropractor that must have the education and constantly improving the education to understand these principles in chiropractic basic science, and then developing the ability to understand them in a way that is constantly questioning and asking why, and having the philosophical ability to put these principles together, communicate these principles in a way that creates massive value in being congruent with the basic science and philosophy of chiropractic, and then the applied science and how we apply these principles in our office. The chiropractor must be so good at that, and also so good at communicating the skill set, selling chiropractic, closing chiropractic, congruent with honesty and the values and principles of chiropractic basic science and philosophy. And of course, this is an area of my expertise that I teach, and whenever we're building a practice, we build it on trust and honesty, and we vet properly so we have the right fit. Not everybody's going to want chiropractic, and this is where the validation comes in. To try to validate chiropractic, to prove chiropractic to people who don't know about chiropractic and don't have an understanding of chiropractic simply doesn't work. In order for chiropractic to reach the world, it must make common sense. And to try to validate to somebody who doesn't care creates the appearance of being desperate, that we're looking for crumbs, that will settle for any crumb that will be thrown at us by the public of acceptance. I say we forget about acceptance. We're not working for acceptance. We're looking and working for truth. And either you love what we do as a chiropractic profession, the adjustment of vertebral subluxations, or it's not your cup of tea and you're living with vertebral subluxations. If chiropractors had true, consistent knowledge of chiropractic, if they studied it relentlessly, if they weren't trying to do other things that you had to take time to study and learn and develop a proficiency at, and they would dive deeper into the basic science of chiropractic. And like B.J. Palmer said, the difference between the good chiropractor and the extraordinary chiropractor is the extraordinary chiropractor has many working principles that they are working with and bringing chiropractic to the world. And what we want to do at the NTSC Institute is to help chiropractors be recognized as experts on vertebral subluxations. You know, we're being recognized as experts, and I think it's ridiculous on so many other areas, on posture, on mattresses. I know nothing about mattresses. I know two things. I have a dear friend who sells them down the street. Go see him if you want to know about mattresses. And when people ask my opinion, because how many times do we see, oh yeah, my chiropractor recommends this type of mattress or doing this type of exercise. When people ask me, what do you recommend in regards to a mattress? The only thing I know to recommend is a great return policy. That's it. If you don't like it, make sure you can return it, because that's my extent of knowledge, just like you. So, but my area of expertise and the scope of practice that we have is in chiropractic. I was listening to a very prominent divorce attorney, brilliant man, and he has great relationship advice. His name's James Sexton, and he's hilarious and he's brilliant. And one of the things that he says, look, I'm a divorce attorney. Don't come to me asking me about real estate or land or, last will and testament or, criminal defense. Don't ask me about these things. I am a divorce lawyer. Don't go to a brain surgeon if you have a problem with your foot, because they don't know about that. I'm a chiropractor. What my area of expertise is vertebral subluxations, and not the spine, not neural integrity, not what are some of the other catchphrases that chiropractors are using? Structural integrity. No. We are experts at vertebral subluxations. Be proud of that. We're the only ones doing that on the planet, and yet you want to give it up, and you say, well, all these other professions want to do it. They can want to do everything they want. That's fine. Until you study to the depth that we have, and chiropractors should have, in the understanding of a vertebral subluxation and how it's in its congruence with the 33 principles of chiropractic, you're not practicing chiropractic. And Claude Lessard, the other day I was talking with Claude, who I absolutely love, folks. I've got to recommend. I've always recommended the blue books written by Joe Strauss, and now I'm recommending the blue books that are are written by Claude Lessard. Claude is amazing, and he's taken chiropractic basic science as one of his books, where he moves the 33 principles from a philosophical concept to a basic science concept, which is absolutely brilliant. Because when we look at the 33 principles, the first 19 are universal principles for all matter in the universe. The next 10 are principles exclusively for all living matter, and only the last 4 are principles that are exclusive to chiropractic. It is quite amazing, and it absolutely belongs as a basic science, in my opinion, as well. And if you're not studying these things, you're not doing chiropractic. And if you're not congruent with these principles, you're not in the realm of chiropractic. And Claude, and I thought it was an incredibly bold statement, and he's right. And he has a French accent, and he's very charming. So obviously I could learn quite a bit from him. And he said to me, Mark, because as many of you may know, I am the chairman of the board of the Chiropractic Trust. It is an international organization that exclusively represents the non-therapeutic model of chiropractic, and we take the hard stance. And there's no other organization that represents this model as we do, 100% congruent with the 33 principles and chiropractic philosophy. So if you're interested in being a member, check out thechiropractictrust.com, sign up today, and be a part of something amazing. So Claude said to me, Mark, I have a problem with the term NTC. And NTC is the acronym for non-therapeutic chiropractic. And it seems lately everybody has a problem with this term, because they keep saying, well, you define it in the negative. And I say, so what? David Koch, rest in peace, David. 25 years ago, I told him the same thing. And his answer was very accurate. His answer was, so what? And the reason why so what is because non-therapeutic is pretty descriptive, considering the only other alternative in chiropractic is therapeutic. But if we look at the therapeutic model of chiropractic, none of it's congruent with the 33 principles. It is not. There is no mention of health in the 33 principles. There is no mention of symptomatology in the 33 principles. Thank you, Stevenson, for putting coordination in there. I mean, absolute genius. And so Claude told me, Mark, you make it seem when the term NTC, and keep in mind, long before I ever came into the profession, these terms were here. You make it seem that there is an alternative to the 33 principles, and there's not. NTC, and credit to Matt Alvord, when he said that chiropractic is inherently non-therapeutic, he was right. That the 33 principles are non-therapeutic. I don't know how Stevenson even came up with this. It's just so far ahead of its time. It's perhaps the greatest thing that was written, I know, dare I say, in the 20th century. So Claude said to me, the NTC makes it sound like you can practice chiropractic in another way. You're either practicing chiropractic or you're not. You're either congruent with the 33 principles or you are not. I'm like, Claude, that's bold and that's incredibly accurate. And you're so right. I don't know how you're even allowed on campus at any school, you see, because you're giving a measuring stick for all chiropractic and chiropractors to be held accountable to, which is powerful, which is absolutely powerful. And my rebuttal was, you're right, as I'm saying now. And also we have to consider that the pragmatism is that how chiropractic is being practiced. That chiropractic started as a therapy. It started as a cure for deafness and moved into a cure for a lot of things. And that brings us to the second model of chiropractic. That this model wants to stay in chiropractic. They don't want to leave the realm of health. They don't want to leave the realm of getting sick people well and keeping the well from getting sick. So they use chiropractic. They use the adjustment of vertebral subluxations to treat or correlate to symptoms and conditions. This is still not in the realm of chiropractic and in the realm of physical medicine. And that's probably going to make up a significant amount of the chiropractic profession right now. And it's a significant amount of how chiropractic is taught in schools. So I don't have numbers of how many chiropractors simply want to disassociate from chiropractic altogether and be a health science. But those schools that I mentioned, whether it was National or Los Angeles College, Western States, Northwestern, those schools adamantly are heading in that direction. The schools on the fence, the more traditional schools, such as Cleveland, Parker, Palmer, and Life, and probably New York College is probably moving more toward Western States, that direction as well. And then all these other colleges that are opening up in these different major universities, maybe more traditional, but more than likely they're more medical and going into the health science route. So I don't know if that's going to be the majority of where the profession is going, and then getting sick people well being another category that is very prominent and still missing the mark a bit, because you're still in the realm of physical medicine, where the non-therapeutic model of chiropractic is saying that the vertebral subluxation is unbelievably bad and we cannot correlate any symptom or condition to it, but what we can say with absolute certainty is that everybody lives better and closer to their full potential when vertebral subluxations are adjusted for total coordination of function within the whole body. This is a massive step in that direction. And the depth of understanding and continue in that learning process of the basic science and the applied science and the adjustment of vertebral subluxations, and consistently asking of why we are doing this, which is the chiropractic philosophy. There's no other profession in the world that has what we have, and chiropractic itself is so far ahead of its time. So of course we're going to get rejected. The crime would be to try to validate ourselves by changing what we do, compromising what we do for public acceptance. Claude Lessard sent me a very famous quote that I do not have memorized, but it says, when you have a great truth that's discovered within a certain era of people that are not practicing within that truth, everybody who's practicing in the opposite of that truth, for that truth to come to fruition, everybody first must die. Because you have habits that are formed. And I'm not saying that I am going to be in the place that 8 billion people are seeing their chiropractor every single week. But I'm doing the best I can to help lay a foundation that the chiropractors that are around me who live longer than me and come up in the next generations are the ones that can make that happen. This is why we have 3 offices where we have associates come in. And if you're a chiropractor that would love to be an associate independent contractor, send me a message, direct message me, and we have opportunities to help you be the best version of who you are. We have the Institute, because many chiropractors don't want to come to Mississippi. You can learn online, and you talk about $89 changing your life, that is it. Hundreds and hundreds of videos filmed right here by premium production that are anywhere from 4 to 9 minutes long, so you can watch 1 to 2 videos a day and have the skills to implement immediately and see the difference in your practice, in the joy, in the happiness, in the compliance, and in the quality of your service. We have an international organization, the Chiropractic Trust, that represents this model. And then my personal mission, 8 billion people seeing their chiropractor every single week. Now, folks, I hope this podcast has been very informative for you, and I look forward to listening to your comments and to hearing your thoughts as well. So drop a comment, contact me. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and enjoy the wonderful chiropractors I've been having conversations with, and we have many more conversations to look forward to in the future. And we are just getting started. So folks, I am so thankful for you watching this. I am so thankful to be a chiropractor. I'm so thankful for my life. Live with power, live with passion, live with purpose, and value who you are and what you do, my chiropractic friends.